So this is the story of how I got Smarts the cat. So I would always like ride my bike into town. It was a 3 mile round trip. And one time I'm in town and I see this lady just like giving away little kittens. And there's this little black kitten. And I just knew I had to have him. It was just, I just had to. So I had to like think of a way. How can I get this little kitten? Because I can't just come home with a cat. Uh, my parents would be just like, what? So I had to think, like, what can I do? And then it occurred to me. So um, I was raised that you don't lie. So I had to do something very sneaky. I picked up this little kitten, and it was like only for 3 seconds. I took him and I just set him down in the road. It was like right by the curb, in between two parked cars. He was totally safe, not in any danger. And then I was like, oh, look, there's a kitten in the road. I need to save it because he can get hurt. And so I pick up this little kitten. And then I'm like, haha, so now I'm not lying about that. I found a kitten in the road. And I used a phone from one of the little shops in town. Like, this was before cell phones, so I had to borrow a phone. And I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I saw this little black kitten in the road, and I picked it up. Can I take him home? And my dad, being the big softy he is, was like, of course you can bring him home. And I was like, ha ha. I am triumphant in my sneakiness here. And so uh, I tell the lady that my dad said that, yeah, I can take him home. And she's just like, well, where do you live? And I briefly told her where I'm at. And she's like, huh. She's like, that's pretty far. She's like, I don't want you to like walk home holding your bike in one hand and the kitten in the other. She's like, that's not very safe. And I was just like, huh. Like, I suppose you're right on that. And I'm trying to think of what to do. And she's like, well, how about um, I'll meet you really close to your house. Not close enough that like, your dad could happen to see me handing you off this kitten, but enough that you could then walk safely, walking the bike with one hand and holding, the kitten in the other. And then I'm just like, you're just as bad as I am. I love it. She thought the whole thing was funny, and but she did make me promise that if for any reason like I couldn't keep him or anything should come up, that I would call her, and she gave me her number and said that she would come and she would take him back and find him another home. But she said that God was so sweet, and she thought he was going to have a great home with me. And so I promised, and then sure enough, she like met me like pretty close to the house. And then I walked him home, and then when I showed my dad, and my dad instantly falls in love with him. And like when my mom got home, my mom was just like indifferent. She was just like, oh, it's another animal. Totally fine. We have so many. Like, I'm not going to notice one more. And so that's how I got Smarts. And much to Skunk's uh, delight, even though like Skunk wasn't even born yet when this happened, um, you know, him and Skunk would not have become the best buddies they were had I not had this brilliant idea of taking Smarts home. And I mean, I don't encourage people to lie to their parents in such ways. I was probably 11 years old at the time. So that was my, like, I'm not lying, but I just knew I had to have this cat and I did it without lying. And, you know, I eventually told my dad. And he's like, I figured it was something like that. He's like, but I didn't want to ruin it for you. And he thought it was really funny. And, as I said, like, he had fallen in love with smarts. So it was just like, he was a spoiled little kitty. And he did live a great life. And I would totally do it again. Had, like, if it could be replayed, I probably wouldn't change a thing of how I acquired uh, that funny little black cat. I hope you enjoyed this story.